Make no mistake, the Rogue Prince of Persia was clearly inspired by Dead Cells, with the gameplay feeling very similar. But is there enough to set this game apart and make it stand tall on its own? I think yes. While the combat has a nice flow to it with enemies televising their attacks, it's still very difficult if you're not paying attention. But the fluidity of the character animations and their mobility, that's what really makes this game stand apart from the rest. Even though it's a 2D game, it manages to capture the spirit of the 3D Prince of Persia games. You got wall running, backflipping, but you can also run along the background wall, which is actually utilized for a lot of the boss fights. And make no mistake, some of these parkour areas are insanely challenging. The music is also really good. But what about progression? Well, if you never played Dead Cells before, basically you can find these recipes that will unlock for purchase from the store at the start of the game. And if you can afford them with this black resin that you can earn off of enemies and bosses and stuff, it basically will unlock that item for your future runs. It doesn't guarantee that you'll get it as a drop, just that it'll show up in the loot pool. My only complaint at the moment of this review is performance is pretty bad. There's clearly a memory leak or something, because the longer you play this game, the more frame rate issues you'll have. And it being a roguelike means that I can't simply close the game and reopen it without ruining my run. It's also extremely short. Make no mistake, this game is in early access, with only 2 bosses, a handful of weapons, and talismans to unlock. I was able to beat the final boss in under 2 hours, but I do have incentive to grind the rest of the equipment. If you like roguelikes, and more specifically, if you like Dead Cells, I can easily recommend this one. It's got the style, it's got the tight controls, everything I like to see in a roguelike is in this game. But if the lack of content is a deal breaker for you, then you might want to end up waiting a few months.